Yes, Jib Jab gave a super chat already. It says, it's a sticker that says, wait for it. That's right, because it's Friday, June 26th, 2020. I'm James Hake. This is the Hake Report. And I see me live on all, 5 of 6 platforms. The 6th one may even be connected, but it sometimes says that it's not. So, let's get ready for a show. I already have my second favorite caller on hold, Earl from Michigan, and others calling in already, 888-775-3773. But let's get on with it.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake
Oh, man.
Report, the Hake Report,
Ah!
la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, isn't it ridiculous what's going on? The emperor has no clothes. Remember that story? I read this story when I was a kid about the emperor has no clothes. That's the name of the story. And it's about this emperor who's had these 2 con men come to him and say, we have these beautiful clothes and we're going to put them on you. And only the pure of heart can see them, but they're the most beautiful clothes. And he put on the imaginary clothes and pretended like he could see them. And everybody knew that it was supposed to be, you're supposed to be pure of heart. So everybody's like, ooh, but he's only wearing his underwear, hopefully. I mean, that's how it looked in the book, right? And then there's a little boy that says, the emperor has no clothes. He's naked. And then everybody realized, oh, dang. And then the con men got punished. Well, that's what's happening across the world. Everybody's pretending, oh, blacks are such victims. We need to deal with this police brutality and racism. And nobody can see racism. Everybody knows that blacks are coming up with fake ideas of, this is racist, that's racist. The most ridiculous things for decades have been called so-called racist. And everybody knows, even if they believe in this racism thing, because the brainwashing has been going on for decades or maybe century or more, that the blacks are the primary offenders of this being into your race thing and hating other people and hating one another. And everybody knows that blacks commit disproportionate crime. And so they experience disproportionate run-ins with the cops. And then the whole mainstream media focuses on these because they like to have anecdotal evidence, right? So people have no objectivity or love of what's right, and so they kiss up to the emperor having his beautiful clothes. It's mainstream to kiss up to insane black anger and false black victimhood. The reality is the reverse of what they're pretending is going on is what's true. That the blacks are the hateful ones, at least these blacks. And they're the perpetrators of racial violence, so-called racial violence, right? You see I've seen these viral videos, and I don't like to show them on my show because, well, it's kind of edgy content, right? It's portraying violence, right? Of these blacks who are firing fireworks at white young skinny people and homeless people. Blacks doing that to whites. And black on white crime is rampant. Just look up Colin Flaherty's stuff. And he's documented it for probably more than a decade. Because he noticed that the media, as he says, denial, deceit, and delusion. That's the mainstream media from the local level on up through the national and international level. The blacks are the unjust people. They're the lynch mob, and along with the liberals along with them. And nowadays, it's the rhinos too, and even some of the conservatives and the independent voices. there's this guy who I like to listen to every now and then, who I just kind of barely heard about. His name was Revenge of the Sis or something like that. He has this nightwave radio. It's an awesome intro. But he was calling this George Floyd thing a murder. A murder. And basically, like, this is an overreaction by really reasonable people. The reasonable people are either afraid or imperfect themselves, or they're just being suckered into playing along with this nitpicking against the cops, which is what it really amounts to. This knee on the neck thing, it looks bad, yeah, of course. And emotionally, I can see you overreacting to it. I understand that. But deal with the blatant problems first. The blatant, rampant problems are this kissing up to black anger. And I have pics of this Shirley Weber woman. Oh my gosh. That's what I was overreacting to. Well, reacting to anyways. She looks more presentable here. I can only presume she's wearing a wig or a weave. Or a weave is a wig, right? I learned that word like halfway through my time here working for the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I did not know what a weave was. I didn't know that black women wore wigs. I had no idea. But this is a black female California state assemblyman. I call them assemblymen. I don't kiss up to that assemblywoman stuff. Pushing reparations for quote-unquote African Americans. And she's in this group selfie pic with a bunch of degenerate Democrats in the state government of California. Evil people. Weave isn't necessarily a wig. Okay, thank you, Joel. Because you can weave in hair extensions, right? Yeah. See? I'm learning. Listen, learn, care. But look at this woman, and there's evil Asians. There's some decent Asians, too. Like, there's an Asian Republican who's not for this affirmative action push. Did you know that affirmative action is illegal in California? We, the voters, well, 1996, I was, 14, 15? But we voted it down, right? We, the people of California. Not me, but because I was underage, I couldn't vote. But in 1996, the people of California voted against affirmative action. We said, no, you can't have affirmative action. But you may not have known that. Also in 1993 or 4 or whatever, we also voted no welfare for illegal aliens. No social services for the illegals. We can't be enabling their crimes, enabling them to be here illegally. But that was never enforced because of the politically correct people, the dumb judges and all that stuff. What are these ones for? I'm seeing in the chat. I see some ones. Let me know. But it's crazy. Ones are usually a good thing anyways. But, you know, that was Prop 187 from the early 90s that we voted I say we, but the adults at that time voted not to allow welfare for illegals, Prop 187. But it was never enforced. And affirmative action is discrimination against whites and Asians, essentially, and men, in favor of females. We voted against gay, so-called same-sex marriage in 2008, Prop 8. All that stuff. California didn't used to be all that degenerate, you know? Now it's like off the deep end. Thank you, immigration. Thank you, the brainwashing. Thank you, the weakening of Republicans themselves, right? And whites ourselves. It's not, you can't just blame the degenerate socialists, so-called brown people who keep coming into the country, or the blacks who leave for the South. They're leaving for the South, many of them, because it's not good here in California right now. Homelessness way out of control. But we have back in the Jim Crow times or whatever, or after the Jim Crow was supposed to have ended, they had this thing about de jure segregation, right? Segregation de jure means by law, I guess. Written on the books. But then after they got rid of it by law, they had de facto segregation or discrimination or whatever, right? De facto means not necessarily by the law, but in practice, it's discrimination against the blacks. Well, that's what we have here in California right now. We have de facto affirmative action. Now they want to put it on the books too. Yeah, it's crazy about this George Floyd thing too. You know how I said these people are overreacting to it and acting like, oh, it's a murder, falling over themselves. And this is what sparked. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, right? They pretended like, oh, this is evidence of injustice against the blacks, inequality, which is supposed to imply that blacks are not getting equal treatment under the law because they're not acting equally under the law. They're not acting by the law at all. And the people they're getting away with crimes more often than anybody else, by percentage-wise. So the reasonable people are being suckered to play along with this nitpicking. And so this Shirley Weber and a whole bunch of people, POC, black and brown, state legislators, want to bring back affirmative action. And she wants to look into reparations. And that was voted for by the disgusting, unjust people. And this woman just looks gross when you see her without the wig or the weave or whatever it is. Ugh. Her hair is a little bit looking like a man. Anyways, receded. She has a bit of a widow's peak. I mean, whatever. People have their issues, right? But ugly on the inside, ugly on the outside. Kind of fat. And old and decrepit. And she's wearing one of those African things on her picture. Reparations, so-called reparations. Based on her voting record, she doesn't care about she does not have any love for black people. Based on her voting record and ratings by prominent leftist and right-wing activist groups online, like Vote Smart. I looked her up on Vote Smart, which is an outlet, right? You can find by Google. She's against the Second Amendment, which is the right to keep and bear arms, which the blacks benefit from. The black peaceful people in their communities. And she's very much for killing the babies in the womb. Yeah, nasty woman. That's abortion, right? She is very much for illegal alien criminals being here, not cooperating with ICE. Yep. Sanctuary state, she's for that. She's very much for pushing the LGBTQ insanity. By the way, Reuters is fake news. Do you have the Reuters? There's a headline about reparations, Reuters, I think. And they're for this activism, they're for this reparations, and they push the fake idea that there's racial injustice. If you zoom in on the lower left corner, you see that Reuters is, in fact, and I've shown this type of thing to you guys before about their activism. Reuters is supposed to be a respectable outlet, right? Respectable, objective journalism. Nope. About our economy's coverage. Yeah, that's right. They put reparations in their economy's coverage. We report on how to ensure people globally have economic security and a decent standard of living by Nellie Payton and Christine Murray, a couple of females. Talking about compensating African Americans for, some of their ancestors having been enslaved in the past. If anything, they owe the society reparations for the damage and devaluing that they bring. That's why a lot of this redlining was taking place, because they would bring down, they had different crime, different culture, and they would bring down and it's more true today than maybe ever, bring down the values of the property with the crime and with the vandalism and all that stuff. Riots. They bring down their own property values by their behavior. So if anything, they owe us reparations, us being we the people, right? And this Phil Vischer, the VeggieTales creator, I've talked about him the past 3 days or so. He said he referenced this quote from the old times when he was giving supposed evidence of injustice against blacks, right? And there was this quote about communists and Negroes who riot. Isn't that so true today? It's like more true today than maybe ever. But it must have been true back then. I'm pretty sure it was. That there was a problem with communists and Negroes who riot. As though that quote was wrong or racist. It's right, and it's proven right today. Riots and communists. It's not just the blacks, it's evil people. By the way, Phil Vischer and this woman had not one mention of the family breakdown, of welfare contributing to, spoiling the blacks and enabling them to be degenerate. How whites unjustly validate black hatred towards them, towards whites. It's a mess. CNN and the politicians hate America and hate black people, scrutinizing the cops like crazy. And every now and then you'll find a case. In Georgia, the court documents indicate a black man was slammed to the ground as he was wrongly arrested, and he's suing the state of Valdosta in Georgia, right? And several officers for excessive force and injury. I guess they got the wrong guy. Crazy, huh? I told you yesterday, officials in Colorado announced an investigation into the death of Elijah McClain, 23-year-old black man who was wearing a ski mask in August because it kept his face warm. He's anemic. You look at him, he was a skinny guy. Died last year in police custody, but he wasn't complying. I don't know what his problem was, but according to the report, the police report, I guess, he was he kept on walking. He wouldn't stop for the cops who wanted to talk to him because they got a suspicious person call. And 2 million people signed a petition for investigation. Suckers. They do not love black people. It's crazy. There was a cop in this incident that said, I'm going to stick my dog on you to bite you if you don't calm down. Because I don't know what his problem was, but he was going crazy. In New York, police said George Zapantis, a 29-year-old bipolar man holding a sword, I think he was black, died on Sunday after being tased by officers. I thought tasers were non-lethal weapons. Remember that guy in Georgia? Atlanta, Georgia, who was sleeping at the Wendy's. He was going to get arrested for DUI. He fought off the cops, got a taser, pointed it at the taser, and shot it at the cops. That's not a lethal weapon on purpose, right? But this black guy who was a bipolar man holding a sword, I think he's black. I don't know. Zapantis, I don't know what that is. George Zapantis. Maybe I'm making a false assumption. Maybe he's not black. I remember a black guy holding a sword in one incident, but that was a couple years ago, or a few. But anyway, died after being tased. Yeah, tasers can be deadly. Don't tase me, bro. These things are scary, man, I think. Another city officer was charged in New York, I guess, after he was seen putting a man into a chokehold during a weekend arrest. Chokeholds should be legal, because what else are you going to do? You have to beat them, right? It seems like. So, meanwhile, it's such a farce, and Democrats and Republicans have called for quick action to address police misconduct. No mention of the black misconduct. No mention of of not even lip service, like blacks got to quit resisting arrest. No, it's not even. People are cowards. Capitol Hill is in a stalemate, right? Because the Democrats are way radical, and the rhinos are kissing up to the fake idea that police are the ones that need the reform. It faces an uphill battle in the Senate, right? But it's all a farce because black crime, meanwhile, is getting out of control. New York City's criminal justice system is imploding, according to the NYPD boss. And homicides hit a 5-year high, according to Drudge and NBC New York. And it's not surprising. The attacks on cops, COVID, taking, these COVID shutdowns, homelessness out of control. They're blaming failed social safety nets, which is a dumb idea. It's a commie idea, as if people are inherently violent if they don't have enough money. They have bail reform laws, meaning you don't have to pay money bail. You can just walk the streets. And then if you don't have to pay money bail, what's the incentive to go back to court? What, you get a bench warrant, just stay away from, duck the police. And that's what so many of these incidents are blacks not wanting to go to prison or jail. And in some cases, you can say that there is some injustice because, say, they don't want to be paying child support. Well, the law says you have to pay child support. It's an unjust law, but that is the law. But then they're being, it's an attack on men. There's case deferments. I guess there's so many crimes that they're not prosecuting crimes swiftly. I can only guess that that's what that means. Attacks on police, pretense that there's racism. The precinct commander quit, by the way, in New York City. Deputy Inspector Richard Brea, B-R-E-A, hanging it up after nearly 3 decades because he says his bosses aren't giving him any guidance on how to get guns and drugs off the streets. Remember a few weeks ago? Feels like a few weeks ago. I don't know. Maybe it was just last week. I don't know. They got rid of the 600 plainclothes officers division. And they're being reassigned, but there's no guidance on getting rid of the guns and drugs anymore. Those plainclothes people were dealing with the gun problem and the drug problem. And people act like drugs are not a problem. They are a problem. It's the basis for a lot of crime. And these people I don't know, it's crazy. And there's gun violence boom in Minneapolis too. Meanwhile, people are setting off fireworks, scaring the people. And illegal fireworks, by the way. Fireworks over here in LA County, well, Riverside specifically. That's more like Riverside County, right? But there's animals freaking out. A horse died. He freaked out and injured himself and died. A dog freaked out, ran into the street, died from these crazy, they're setting off fireworks like crazy. And I know the kind of people that set off fireworks like crazy. I don't think of them as whites. I mean, in some cases, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to get to this Obamacare thing. Trump is trying to get the Supreme Court to nullify Obamacare, which would be a great thing. And all that other stuff. There's this female niece of Trump who's attacking him and all this madness. But let me get to some calls. Oh, first, let me read some super chats. Based AF, meaning America First, right? America First. Says, you are a great listener, so talented. Talking to me? Thank you. Or thank you on the behalf of whoever you're complimenting. Dark Side of the Bear, what is hosting? Thank you. Based AF, America First, says, we appreciate all of your hard work. I'm saying AF stands for America First because I don't want... Anyways. Those of you who know, you know why. Because AF stands for as blank. But it also stands for America First. Okay? And he capitalized it. If you capitalize it, it means America First. If it's lowercase, it's I guess, I don't know, was it blacks who started that? Whatever. Let's not blame everything on them, right? Based AF says, I learned something new when I catch your broadcast. Thanks, man. What is blank, James? F word. Which stands for first. Bill gave a diamond, appreciate it. Mo Betta stand up, faithful supporter, gave a diamond and said, I am a fortune teller. Hola, James. Earl, June 26th. We'll see. Jesse Lee Peterson hosting the show. Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it. Mo Betta stand up says, I hear Hake Report is getting a new Joel outro song soon. Smiley face. And Mo Betta stand up says, tasers equals lethal when used without training. Interesting. Mo Betta stand up says, it's the tase. If the tase don't kill you, suspect now gets your gun. Interesting. Yeah, true. Good point. Or he just runs off. That guy may have just run off if he had successfully tased the officer. We don't know. Let's avoid too much speculation, right? Lin Yun Chin says, I'm not from not frock. My thumb's big and I didn't proofread. From, not frock. Okay. Appreciate it. Mo Betta Stand Up says they worry fireworks material will become IEDs. Interesting. Yeah. Law-abiding society don't make IEDs against their own, says Mo Betta Stand Up. And Groiper Bear, thank you for the diamond. I'm going to get to my second favorite caller in just a sec. Earl, out of Michigan, I think. Lots of callers, guys. Hang tight. Daniel E. says, is such a thing as forgiving Satan? Ask Jesse. I don't know about that one. You're not supposed to, I don't know. Adam Clark says, Oprah has a new documentary about George Floyd. It looks disgusting. What an evil, nasty woman. Yeah, she is. Lin Yun Chin gave a retracted super chat, but very generous. Thank you. And he also gave another one that says, Merry Christmas, James Hake, Joel Friday, the Prince of Prance, Skateboard White Chris, Great Black Hope, Jesse Lee Peterson. Nice. Thank you, Lin Yun Chin. Appreciate you guys. Let me get to my second favorite caller behind Maze, right? Earl from Michigan. Hey, Earl.
Hola, buenos dias, James Hake. My second favorite Nazi. Hey, little Nazi, how you doing?
Buenos dias, my second favorite Nazi.
Oh, don't try to, because you had nothing to come back with.
I don't have to have something to come back with. You're like baby Farrakhan, right?
Always, now you're trying to think of something.
I know, but it's silly to call me a Nazi. I don't even know anything about the Nazis. Although when I heard about the noose, that's what I thought of, because I was reading Killing the SS by Bill O'Reilly, and he talked about Nazis getting hanged by amateur Americans after the Nuremberg trials. And so the nooses weren't just for blacks. A lot of whites got lynched and hanged. Saddam Hussein got hanged with a noose.
The military hung folks. So not that it was just exclusive for blacks, but it was just the fact that the mob folks usually, who wasn't police or
right,
licensed people of the law, that was the difference. Not that it was exclusively used by mob and so forth.
So why do blacks encourage so-called mob justice today? They've become what they hate. Such as with George Zimmerman. They still call him a murderer to this day, even after a trial. They wanted his head. Well,
the same way you whites wanted O.J. Simpson's head. They still call him a murderer to this day. Do they not?
Yeah, I think that a lot of them do, yeah. But you didn't answer my question. How come blacks have become the mob today?
They're not just mob. That's just their belief. They thought he got away with murder. They thought he spun a story, and he got away. He got away with murder.
Right.
In fact,
those lynch mobs. Hold on, Earl. So those lynch mobs, that's just their belief that these blacks and some of the whites that they lynched were getting away with murder and raping and robbing. So they lynched them based on their belief that these people were guilty.
But they took it to another level. They killed folks.
Right.
It wasn't just an opinion.
Yep.
So that's a big difference.
Yeah, that's a pretty big difference. But they're pushing injustice like crazy. The blacks are.
Well, everybody entitled to their belief or opinion.
But you should be pushing for real justice, not. You should be pushing against these blacks who are pushing injustice. They have a right to be deluded, but it's not right for them to be deluded.
They have a right to an opinion, just like whites have a right to their opinion.
And on top of that, Earl, hold on.
Because
hold on. Let me just make another point, because you're talking about the mob. The lynch mobs did actually kill people, right? But blacks kill whites and kill cops over this delusional idea that there's racism. And blacks kill more whites than whites kill blacks, by far. And so
nowadays.
nowadays.
In the modern era, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
But
about
in
back
the
then.
past-
Maybe it was the same
in the
way back
past,
then too. I don't know.
It was whites that killed blacks more often.
I don't know if
Let me
that's
give you a
true.
little stat.
I don't know if that's true,
Let
Earl.
me give you a little stat that you like to
All right.
to quote stats by the FBI.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Did you know blacks prosecutors sought the death penalty against blacks more often when they killed the whites than they killed blacks? Did you know there was no record of until the 1940s where the death penalty was sought by prosecutors or whatever of whites killing blacks?
Interesting. I don't know. You know, but maybe
Yeah.
black on white crime has
Did you
has
also
always.
know
Hold on.
blacks couldn't arrest.
I don't know. I don't know about your propaganda history. I just don't know about it, so I can't really
No, it's
address
not
it.
propaganda.
Yeah, there's
It's
a lot of
facts, just like-
propaganda, man. It's
No,
it's
it's just the fact that that's very uncomfortable for you to hear.
no, but you have to go to history because you can't deal with present day reality where the blacks are the ones committing the injustice.
I didn't say. I said that's present day. I didn't run from it. I said
No, you had to go way back to the
you're right.
prosecutors and blah blah blah. Where
That's
I
a
don't know
fact.
about all that mess.
That's history. Well, you don't know about anything.
Yes, I
That
do.
You don't actually speak out. If it doesn't voice your point, you don't speak it out. You don't know anything.
Yeah, I
and
do.
then you doubt everybody else who said something about it.
Back at you, Earl. You're guilty of the very thing you're accusing me of.
By the way, Joe from Arizona was right last week when he told you about white cops stopping blacks and profiling for a little or nothing.
No, I don't believe
That's
it.
a common black experience.
No.
You know.
Nope.
That's something you would know about.
Wait.
That's something you
Hold
would
on.
know about because it was happening long before you were born, all up until this day.
But
Did you know
you're
that?
ignoring the fact that blacks are disproportionate criminals.
Did you know they were stopped long before you were born?
Of course.
This,
Black criminals were
profiling
stopped. Black criminals
and-
were stopped long before I was born. Yes.
No, they weren't criminals. In
Oftentimes they were.
fact, they used to be stopped from entering white neighborhoods. Did you know that?
Right, because they would sometimes enter it with no good
No.
intentions in mind. Earl, you're leaving out key
decades.
information.
This was decades and decades ago, long before you were born.
I know.
Back in, like you say, me and
There
Jesse's
was
day,
hold on.
when they wouldn't allow you to even drive to a white neighborhood. You have to be a
Because
criminal.
Earl, blacks hated whites decades before I was born. It's true. Especially in the
just making up
cities.
stuff you don't know about.
I do know
You just
about that.
said
You're
something
literally
just
you're
after
literally
you
gonna
said.
sit there and pretend blacks didn't hate
What?
whites before I was born.
There are some that hated whites.
Thank
But it
you.
had nothing to do with stopping blacks from going through a certain neighborhood.
I gotta go.
I mean, you making a point that somewhere blacks stop, and that's some correlation.
You know why,
with cops
Earl,
stopping blacks?
Earl, you
'cause
know
they
why-
didn't enter a black neighborhood.
Earl, you know
that
why
makes no sense whatsoever.
you know why these lynchings and these laws were taking place? Because it was seen as an attack on the white community, right? And now you guys see something that's an attack on the black community and you go crazy and unjust. And you are the same thing that you hating from the past. It's so pathetic, Earl. Anyways,
But did you also know there
I gotta
was no
go.
black,
we've
no
been talking
black
too
lynching
long.
of white folks?
Have a good
Isn't
one.
that curious?
Adios.
Wasn't that curious?
Adios, amigo.
Adios,
All right.
Nazi.
It's nice talking with him, but there's no getting through. Earl needs to go sit down, says someone get Bill. What do you think of Earl? What do you think Earl looks like, says fan of the ladies. Have you seen him? I have not. Earl's a few beans short of a bean pie, says North Arkansas. History fact. People got lynched for a reason, says Asmodor. Yeah, it was usually, from what I read, right? Rape, robbery, or murder. And robbery was a serious offense back then because it affected your livelihood. People couldn't starve to death if, like, the cow gets robbed or the horse or whatever. I think I lost the Earl drinking game today with chat, says Mo Betta Stand Up. More than 50% of lynchings were done to whites, says Asmodor. Yeah, the ones that I read from the Tuskegee Institute, which was, I don't know if it was taking place since what's-his-name started it, the great Booker T. Washington. But, yeah, like more than a quarter of the lynchings that I saw were whites who were lynched. And blacks, I read, were they committed lynchings of other blacks, too. They lynched them. Because, you know, that was the police back then, in some cases. And they didn't necessarily document the crimes because they couldn't read or write. That's what I read. But the whites usually documented the crime so that, you know, there was a record. Mo Betta Stand Up says, Hola, my second favorite Nazi. Oh my gosh, Earl, I can't breathe. Philip J33 says, apologies for my super chat from Ralph retort, frowny face. I'm not sure what it was, but, you know, Jesse Lee Peterson and us, we didn't have any problems with Ralph retort or the super chats that he didn't read. Yeah, there was no problem. Azador's hosting, thank you, man. Groiper Bear gave a diamond, and Mo Betta Stand Up says, law-abiding society don't make... Oh, yeah, I said that one already. Mo Betta says, diamond for church, and we get Asmodor in here. Right on. Oh, let me see this. Lin Yan Chen says, always remember, white baby engineers, which is white babies, right? Naturally enhance life quality for every life within any ecology that they are found. More white baby engineers equals more babies of all other kinds. And he's saying engineers in the sense that people who build society, right? Build giant robots. I don't know what he means by giant robots, but he says it. John X15 says, NASSC. I think that's a reference to NASCAR, but you put all caps on the AS, other S. Going to turn into WWE and fix a race for Bubba to win and declare love for blacks. Blacks still won't watch. Yeah. This kissing up, they're attacking country music right now. Country and Western music. It's such a shame. Jesse's right when he says that blacks are only used for destruction today. Let me get to Samuel out of Sweden. Make sure you catch Samuel's The Nuclear Family from Samuel Freiholtz. Hey, man. Samuel.
Hi there.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm well. I just called in because I heard you mention H.C. Andersen's Emperor's New Clothes.
Yes. Oh, yeah, it was called The Emperor's New Clothes. Right.
And, you know, I know that story pretty well. I also have the story in my bookshelf, so it's no... I just want to mention something, and there are many things you missed, but perhaps, you know, the reason why they didn't recognize that he was naked, you know, the adult people.
Yeah.
And that first, when the child said it, it was because the fraudster claimed that if someone was stupid, they would not see the clothes.
Right.
So no one wanted to acknowledge that they couldn't see the clothes.
Yeah.
Because it would hurt their ego.
That is so true. I said something about pure of heart, but I think you're right. It had to be like stupid. You know, man.
And
yeah, go for it.
In the story, the fraudsters they never get caught or punished. I think they run away when.
Oh, okay.
But when the king, the emperor, realized that he's naked, what the story says is that he and his royal people, they continue the facade. They continue to pretend that they have clothes, that he has clothes.
That's so insane.
To the castle.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. You know, this whole story reminds me, there's this woman, I'm in a group text with some of the producers over here, and one of them gave me a tip that there's this woman named Jenna Marbles. Jenna Marbles. She's a YouTuber. Been on YouTube for probably over a decade, maybe more than that. 20 million subscribers. 20 million subscribers on YouTube. And I had never heard of her before. But
not me.
She posted this video that's titled A Message. And she explains that she has privated, meaning she made private, not for public anymore, most of her videos from the past. And she goes on apologizing for having dressed up in quote-unquote blackface back in 2011, dressing up and doing a Nicki Minaj impression. Nicki Minaj being the degenerate, so-called black, Puerto Rican, whatever, rapper. Oh yeah, there's Jenna Marbles, right? Pretty girl, dead face, miserable person, a liberal. There's the picture of her from her video where she's talking about, I'm so sorry. And she breaks down crying. It's so pathetic. And she's a white woman, I guess. Maybe she's not completely white, I don't know. But she acts like a white woman and apologizes for having commented about the differences between men and women, how they act, what they like, because I guess that's stereotypical and problematic. And she breaks down crying during all this. She shows pictures of her doing the Nicki Minaj thing and saying she does a rap song where she makes fun of Asians and says something mildly vulgar, as if rap isn't vulgar, right? And she apologizes, and she's like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to offend anybody. But her apology is extremely offensive. That's what's offensive to me. And is asking...
your feeling doesn't matter. It's only the black people's feelings matter, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah. But, she needs kids. I watched one other video where she video records her dog being weird. And she has this, I don't know if it's a boyfriend or a brother or a friend, a homosexual male friend or something, but there's this guy with hot pink hair who's driving around with a dog and her and helping her video record. And I'm like, whites need kids, they don't need dogs. But they're treating them like babies. It's crazy.
I just want to mention that I realized that she needs a strong man. Society needs strong men.
Yeah.
And just recently I heard a mother who was duped into drinking too much. And that was at a party where her husband were at. And I just thought to myself, why doesn't her husband intervene and stop people who are trying to get her to drink much more? And but that's I kind of understand that the husband she has is weak and
right.
Perhaps think it is fun, or I don't know, but I just the world needs strong men. Sometimes I start to sing the song, what the world needs now, and then I add strong men.
I really appreciate it. I watched your video. Samuel gave out. Do you mind pronouncing your last name, since you have it up there on your YouTube channel?
It's actually very easy. It's when my mother divorced my father. I had a Swedish surname before.
Okay.
I got a German surname. He gave me, and it's a German accent. It's Freiholtz.
Freiholtz. Okay.
Yeah, Freiholtz. It's a German.
So you say it nice and harsh, like the Germans do, rather than soft and smooth, like the Swedish do.
Yeah. You can't say that name smooth, You have to cut someone with it.
Yeah. Well, it was very nice. Check out The Nuclear Family. I played a little clip of it yesterday, 45-second clip, but it's about a 4-minute video.
Very, very surprised.
Yeah, a very nice job with it. It had beautiful, like, European music piano background, I think.
It's Mozart.
Mozart. I'm very uncultured. So, yeah, good work with that. Good Bible quotes, but good, just nice, what do you call that? Script that you, I don't know if you read it or if you just spoke it based on memory or what, but nice work.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very, very, very flattered.
Cool.
So, have a great day.
All right.
I hope I hear from you soon.
All right. Maybe see you in church on Sunday, Samuel. Take care.
Absolutely.
All right. Let me get to Kira out of Florida. Kira, am I pronouncing your name right?
Hey. Hey, Hake.
Hey, it's good to hear from you.
How's it going?
Going well.
Thank you.
Have you called in before to my show?
Yeah, and I'm also TwoColoredEyes on YouTube.
Okay, nice. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to call because I heard a lady call I think it was earlier this week, and she mentioned to you how she was in Walmart and they started playing over the intercom, support and the BLM and all that stuff.
Right. I do remember that. That was crazy.
It was crazy. I was surprised as much as I'm in Walmart that I haven't heard that myself. But I was actually, it was funny because like the day after that phone call happened, I was in Dollar General and I heard over the intercom, it was pretty quiet in there, and they had the same kind of announcement, but it was in support of law enforcement.
Wow.
And they were going, yes. They were going on and on. It was some lady on the intercom. It wasn't like a store, but it was a recorded message. And
Yeah.
it was basically the same thing, but in support of the officers and, about how important they are to our community. And I'm sitting there shopping, and I'm like, I stopped dead in my tracks because I was just so happy to hear that finally a corporation, a big company, is supporting our law enforcement and not just the BLM thing.
Yeah, that is nice. I wonder if that was the local franchise or whatever that Dollar General is that made the decision, the local management, or if it was, or owners, or if it was came down from corporate. But that's cool. That's nice to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I meant to say something to the cashier on my way out, but it was like in the beginning of my trip, so
Yeah.
I totally spaced it by the time I left. But
So I didn't
was
repeat
just
it
funny.
endlessly.
Yeah, I
It
know,
was just a
right?
commercial?
Like a continuous loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that happened the day after I heard that phone call, so I was like, oh my gosh, I need to call you and
That's nice
update
to
you on
hear.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
wonder
was
if it
really
was
nice.
just the radio station. They bought an ad on the station that they were playing or whatever. Or if it was bought
I
on.
don't know.
I don't know either.
I should
Interesting,
find
though.
out because it's one by my house, so it's one that I frequent. So I should ask next time I'm in there.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to piggyback. Can I say something else too?
Go for it.
Okay. Earl. I hope Earl's still listening because he makes all of us listen to him.
Right.
I've got to say, him and Maze are some of the most pathetic human beings that I have ever come across in my life. I just find it kind of, I say pathetic, use any word that you want in that place, but I find it funny that they call you and Jesse, my gosh, they got to call both shows, and they talk to you guys for at least 15 minutes apiece. And I just find it so funny that Earl does nothing but call and make fun of you guys and call you names. Oh, and you asked what we picture Earl looking like. I imagine Earl like James Earl Jones, the actor.
Yeah.
I picture him like that kind of old black man look, you know what I'm saying? That's how I picture Earl when I hear him talk. But I just find it so sad that a human being has nothing better to do with their time than to call you guys both and call you names and just degrade your show. And it's like, they obviously love your show and they love you.
Yeah.
They just want to sit there and tease you because why else would someone waste their time if they hate it so much to call and waste their time doing that. Like, it drives me crazy.
Hate watching is a real phenomenon, and there's a lot of people who do it. It's interesting.
It is interesting. Like, I don't, why put energy into something that you don't like, or the people you don't like, or it just, I just had to say something because he was just on the phone for 20 minutes and
yeah, it beats a conservative hate watching a liberal show and constantly calling into a liberal show because
we have more sense than that.
Right. I mean, we'll watch it just to get an idea of the insanity that they're thinking, but
yeah,
I don't know, there's no light.
As far as yeah.
At least they're getting the truth, but they're not. But the truth is not sinking in. It's not penetrating. I appreciate it, Kira.
It goes one ear wet the other. Yeah, thanks for having me on your show.
All right, nice to hear from you. Take care. Have a nice weekend.
Thanks. Have a good weekend.
You as well. See you in church.
Thanks. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Let me read a few super chats. I think I'm getting behind. Edward Grieg. I don't know if I'm mispronouncing your name, but he gave a Ninja Guinea. Appreciate the support. Thank you. Let me quickly, you know what? Let me just get to Justin out of Big Sandy, Texas. First time caller. Justin, it's good to hear from you. What's up?
How you doing, sir?
Doing fine. How are you?
All right, before I get started, I want someone to record this. This is about Earl. I'm going to be like Ben Shapiro and give him some facts, all right? So
okay.
Someone record this and post on your own YouTube page so that I could tell people how this really is. So
it is recorded and it's out on YouTube as we speak, so go for it.
Awesome. So, Earl
we're about 53 minutes into the show, just so you guys, there you have a timestamp, roughly. Anyways, go.
All right. So about Earl saying that there's all this police brutality against black people and all this. Well, let me give him some statistics in case he's still hearing. You said that blacks commit more crime, right? They are disproportionately criminals, right?
Right.
I look at the statistics, and this is just black men. They make up 6% of the population, yet do 44% of the murders. This is from independent statistics. I'm a statistics guy. I'm a 17-year-old autistic guy into statistics.
Wow.
And I have more sense than he does.
Yeah.
And also, when it comes to police brutality, 9 black people died. That's bad. I mean, no one should die from police brutality.
But is it real police brutality, or is it just unarmed black men dying, getting themselves killed by some way or another? Sometimes it's their own fault. Sometimes it's the cop's fault. So you can't necessarily say that's all police brutality.
Yeah. And I was watching this from Candace Owens, and then what I do, I always watch a video, and then I go back to the statistics, seeing if they are consistent.
Are you a high-functioning autist?
I have Asperger's, so I do have it's mostly high function.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, you got to see that 9 black people died from police brutality, but
So-called.
19 white people did.
Yeah.
And the media isn't covering the majority of police brutality because because it doesn't fit a narrative.
And you know what?
Yeah.
You know what, Justin? There are supposedly about 5 times as many whites as there are blacks, right? And so why is it only double? Or, it's like white death by police unarmed is only double and not 5 times. But the blacks are committing so many more crimes that it's we're opening the treasure chest, by the way, that per run-in with the cops, the blacks are less likely to get the worst to happen to them. The worst being, death.
Also, this is to the people who support BLM. Stop supporting them.
Yes.
All they're going to do, this is what the conservative twins, the Hodge twins were, right?
Yeah.
They said what the Black Lives Matter movement says. They said black lives only matter when a white cop shoots.
Right.
That is true. Look at David Dorn, a black police officer that died by rioters.
Yep.
Look at all these black people that have died. Look at the black-on-black crime. Look at the situations in the neighborhood.
Yep.
Look at the fact that black people are suffering mostly because of their own decisions. They're trying to see, here's the government, let me give you some handouts.
Right.
And that's the reason why. Look at the Native American population. They're actually even worse off than black. I think about 1 in every 4 or 1 in every 5 Native Americans are in poverty because the government gives them handouts.
Yep.
And, the black population, hopefully it doesn't become the same for them, but they think that the government's doing a terrible job, but they're giving them handouts, they're giving them welfare, they're giving them Medicaid, they're giving them Medicare, they're giving them food stamps,
I
they're giving
know.
them chips for their kids.
It's just,
And
it's
also,
corrupting.
yeah.
It's corrupting.
And also, when you look at the black privilege, the government actually has organizations that stop black privilege, that stop this, or white privilege. Sorry, I keep on saying black privilege.
I know.
I don't know why.
Because that's the real thing.
Let me redo that. I'm sorry, guys. There are government entities that stop white privilege.
Justin.
And I saw that. Yeah.
Are you white or black or what?
I'm white.
Okay.
I'm white, but I have black friends, and some of them are actually in agreement with me on it.
I know. I mean,
Because
anybody
they
who's
have
into
learned right.
anybody who's into
I'm a
facts or
libertarian.
or at least truth or at least facts can
Yeah.
agree with you. It's crazy, man.
And
How'd you
I
find
am
the
a
show,
libertarian.
Justin?
Oh, I found the show because of Jesse Lee Peterson.
And how'd you find
the guy that
Jesse?
you work with?
Yeah.
Oh, I found him because of those compilations of SJWs.
Nice. Right on.
And let me say this. I am not a conservative. I'm a very libertarian person.
Yeah.
And when I see truth, I see truth. I'm a very pragmatic person. And
Are you a Christian?
I am a Christian. Yep, I'm non-denominational.
Okay.
I have no denomination because I think it's a sin, but that's my opinion. But also,
You think what's a sin?
I think being a part of a denomination is a sin.
Oh, okay.
That's my opinion.
All right.
And you may have a different opinion. But back to what I was saying about Earl. Earl should stop calling you with just made-up feelings.
Yeah.
Because, like Ben Shapiro said, facts don't care about your feelings.
I know. He calls me a
And this is
Nazi, like
something-
as if he knows.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, don't worry. You're probably the sanest Nazi out there.
Justin, call me
You're probably
again. I
the
appreciate
sanest
hearing from you. Let's talk more
Hey, no problem.
another time. All right.
All right.
By the way, do you catch Church with Jesse Lee Peterson?
I catch what was it? Church with Jesse Lee Peterson?
Church
I
with
can't hear you.
Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. It's on the.
I haven't gotten to catch it yet. I've been very busy.
Yeah, I understand.
With some stuff for my company my business
Dang.
that I'm doing. So I haven't been able to catch it, but I'll try to.
Yeah, definitely check it out when you have time. It's
All right,
it's on
see
a
you
different
guys.
YouTube channel. It's Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel.
All right, that's for you guys too, I guess. That's for the audience as well.
Yep.
A little bit of an advertisement.
Of
So,
course. Appreciate it, Justin. Take care, man.
No problem. You take care too, sir.
All right. Let me get to Kenny out of Idaho. Been on hold a while. Kenny, thank you for holding. What's up?
Hey, man.
Hey,
What is up? I
everything.
wanted to get your feedback on what's the deal with all of this attacks on officers just trying to check out complaints in their neighborhood.
I know. Yeah.
That one feller, he said, hey, I'm an introvert. And I can kind of relate to his predicament. But you would have thought this, if someone's like that aware of his deficiencies, that he wouldn't go out after dark.
I'm not familiar with what incident that you're talking about, but
yeah,
I know
he went
that.
out to get he went out to get a Snapple.
So that's
somebody
not a
had
cop.
complained.
That's a white person being attacked, huh?
No, I think it was a black a kid,
Oh, okay.
but probably not in the typical black kid garb. But
Right.
still, you're not protected
Yeah.
if you're out after dark.
You know, hatred.
And they're not brought up to treat the cops honorably.
Hatred of cops has gone on unchecked for decades. It's accepted and encouraged in the black culture, including in rap music and their movies now, the degenerate propaganda movies that are just an eye roll. Not compelling whatsoever, but they think it's compelling. Edward Grieg says, all lives matter, but Marxism does not matter. Marxism is evil. Kenny, I appreciate it, man. See you
right,
in church
James.
on Sunday.
Keep
Take
up
care.
the good work. Love you guys.
Thank you, man. Louis out of Idaho, 20 seconds. Go, Louis. Appreciate you calling. What's up?
Hey, do you need a third hour?
A third hour.
Maze and Earl need to hook up, okay?
No, Maze is already married. I don't know. I haven't asked Earl if he's married. Appreciate it, Louis. Yes.
Earl was angry. You need a third hour.
Thank you, man.
Hit the one for Earl, for Hayes.
All right. Take care, Louis. Good to hear from you.
Sorry. All right, take care, bye.
All right. The Fallen State at noon today. In 2 hours, the premiere is coming out with Beyonce's dad. That's cool. All right, guys, thehakereport.com for my stuff, rebuildingtheman.com/church on Sunday. Take care. Oh, I'm also live Sunday morning before church with Jesse Lee Peterson on the Hake Report channel, 9 a.m. my time. Take care.